Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 17. Tasya karmani udarani parigitani suribhi bruhi na shradadhananam Leelaya dadhataha kalaha tasya karmani udarani parigitani suribhi bruhina shradadhananam Leelaya dadatha kalaha Tasya karmani udarani Parigitani suribhi Bruhina shadadhananam Leelaya dadatha kalaha No, I'll read once more, but there's a delivery coming. Just phone answer. Tasya karmani udarani Parigitani suribhi Bruhina shadadhananam Leelaya dadatha kalaha Tasya his karmani transcendental acts udarani magnanimous Parigitani broadcast Suribhi by the great souls Bruhi please speak Nah unto us Shadadhananam ready to receive with respect Leelaya pastimes Dadhataha advented Kalaha incarnations. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. His transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and great learned sages like Narad sing of them. Please therefore speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations. Purport: the personality of God is never inactive, as some less intelligent persons suggest. His works are magnificent and magnanimous. His creations, both material and spiritual, are all wonderful and contain all variegatedness. They are described nicely by such liberated souls as Srila Narad, Vyas, Valmiki, Devala, Asita, Madhva, Sri Chaitanya, and Ramanuja, Vishnu Swami, Nimbark, Sridhar, Vishwanath, Baladev, Bhakti Vinod, Siddhanta Saraswati, and many others, learned and self-realized souls. These creations, both material and spiritual, are full of opulence, beauty, and knowledge. But the spiritual realm is more magnificent due to its being full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. The material creations are manifested for some time as perverted shadows of the spiritual kingdom and can be likened to cinemas. They attract people of less intelligent caliber who are attracted by false things. Such foolish men have no information of the reality, and they take it for granted that the false material manifestation is the all in all. But more intelligent men, guided by sages like Vyasa and Narad, know that the eternal kingdom of God is more delightful, larger, and eternally full of bliss and knowledge. Those who are not conversant with the activities of the Lord and His transcendental realm are sometimes favored by the Lord in His adventures as incarnations, wherein He displays the eternal bliss of His association in the transcendental realm. By such activities, He attracts the conditioned souls of the material world. Some of these conditioned souls are engaged in the false enjoyment of material senses, and others in simply negating their real life in the spiritual world. These less intelligent persons are known as karmis, or fruitive workers, and Gyanis, or dry mental speculators. But above these two classes of men is the transcendentalist known as Satwata, or the devotee, who is busy neither with rampant material activity nor with mental speculation. He is engaged in the positive service of the Lord, and therefore he derives the highest spiritual benefit unknown to the karmis and Gyanis. As the supreme controller of both the material and spiritual worlds, the Lord has different incarnations of unlimited categories. Incarnations like Brahma, Rudra, Manu, Prithu, and Vyas are His material qualitative incarnations. But His incarnations like Rama, Narasimha, Varaha, and Vamana are His transcendental incarnations. Lord Sri Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations, and He is therefore the cause of all causes. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desha Tarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Tasya karmani udarani parigitani suribhi bruhina shadadhananam lilaya dadata kalaha. His transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and great learned sages like Narad sing of them. Please therefore speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures He performs in His various incarnations. This is one of the questions asked in the beginning, one of the 6 questions for which the answer was Srimad Bhagavatam. In Vedic literature, there's a very deep presentation about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other literatures, other religious systems, there's not much information given. But the Vedas explain in great detail about the form, name, qualities about God. And other people being in so much ignorance, they maybe come to conclusion God has no form or not, and these things which they are not familiar with, they cannot accept it because it's beyond their realization and their knowledge. It's beyond that. So they cannot accept it. But from our understanding that the Vedas are perfect, and Vedas give dharma, Veda pranihito dharmo. Vedas are written by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, presented by Him, Ved Narayan Sakshat. And so they are perfect. And there they mention the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person like you. All of us are people. There is a person, but He is not on our level. We are all conscious, but He is super conscious. And He is not under material laws. There are people who propound the Supreme as impersonal, that there's God is impersonal, pervading everything. That's not wrong, because He has one form like that. Maya tadamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina. Krishna says that by me, in my unmanifested form, I pervade the entire creation. Yes, there is a form, but if you say that form is higher than the person, that is wrong. So Mayavadis say that the impersonal is the highest, and that Krishna came, that is a form like us, a material body. Therefore they call Mayavadis, because they believe that Krishna, the Supreme Personality, is made of Maya. Even his name, quality and Leela is all Maya. So that they call Mayavadis. But the Bhagavad Gita itself says that Brahmano hi pratishtaham, that Brahman, Krishna said, is under me. That impersonal energy by which I pervade everything, that is subservient to me. It's not higher than God. So that knowledge of the Vedas, of the personal nature of God, is unique. So much detail, so much so that people deny this is not correct because they have no experience with that. It's very high level to speak about God directly and to know everything about Him. So because the Vedic literature has so much knowledge of God, it is subject of so many artworks, literature works, poems, dramas, so much information is there. And people prefer to do that. They prefer to hear that. And sometimes they try to present that in their, people make money out of that through films or books. They'll take that theme and repackage something because it's attractive. Supreme Personality of Godhead is attractive. People like it. We saw, for example, there was a time when I was not in the movement and then seeing from outside people preaching. So I remember seeing, they'll be preaching, they'll put book tables in the city. And people will come there, so many will come and discuss, there was always some activity. And other systems of religion, they'll also put their tables, but whenever I walked there, I saw people shouting and arguing. And they were not so, of course God is attractive, but in that form, if He's not fully being presented, it's not so attractive. But when He presents Himself, we know about Him, His quality, that is so attractive. But impersonal is not attractive. Who wants to merge into the impersonal? It's not so much attractive that I can forget about this material world and do that. I'll practice religion, but I'll very much be attracted to this material world and bodily pleasures, pleasure of the material world. It's unless I know there's something higher that I can come, I aspire for. So yeah, there were other people presenting different religious systems, but it's not so attractive. But this verse, it's not speaking about, it's speaking more about adventures. The verse is saying, we are eager to hear about His adventures He performs in His various incarnations. Here they're speaking about the Leela. They call it adventures. Leela of Krishna. So even now, people like to hear stories. People buy books on famous authors. They write some, pastimes, their adventures, and they make some fictional character, and we like to hear that. It's and TV and movies, people like to hear that. Why? The tendency is there to hear about someone or some event and to hear and listen to it. But actually we are meant to be hearing about Krishna. And now people like to watch some movie, some cartoon thing. Why? Because actually we like to hear it. We want to see, some narration with our eyes and ears, they'll be engaged, and the mind. Actually 3 things become engaged. Mind, eyes, ears. When we are looking, and then there's some pleasure, we are seeing, but we have to, let's understand, why is it? Why is it there? Everything comes from the spiritual world. This material world is a replica, not the real thing, but it's a perverted reflection. Prabhupada says, uses that word a lot. Material world is perverted. What is perverted? Perverted means It's not an actual thing, it's something deviated from the original. That's perverted. It's not the actual presentation, but something which is made in that image but not fully having that quality. So perverted reflection. Reflection, yes, because everything there is here but in an opposite way. So in that way, even hearing about the pastimes, someone's stories or something, we like to do that. Why? Because the jiva is meant to hear about Krishna. Originally we are meant to hear about Krishna's pastime, and that goes on eternally, even in liberated stage. But the thing is that now we have no knowledge of God. So now people aspire for cinemas and movies and to hear and watch those things. But there's a problem. They'll not satisfy. They'll not satisfy us. They'll be temporary. We'll hear it, then we will not want to hear it again. It's some material thing. So it's not going to fully satisfy. But narrations of Krishna, they are so satisfying that just try to imagine. There are books which are released now, some stories which are being sold in public. You think that in 5,000 years those books will be read? No. Or whatever movie they produce now, or cartoon, you think in 5,000 years they'll watch that? No. But Krishna is being watched and read and heard after 5,000 years. And Ramayana, Treta Yuga. And therefore Prabhupada says in one of the purports here, that there's abundant stock of stories and literatures in the Vedas which everyone can take advantage and read. See, even now we have these books like Panchatantra, Chanakya Niti, Mahabharata, Ramayana is being produced. So people have tendency to engage their mind in some, activity of, movie or narration. So it should be on these terms. It should be on those terms. That is Sat. It will lead to eternality. So, but the other thing, they're not so satisfying. We want to hear, but without knowledge of Krishna, we hear those things, we will not be satisfied. And actually the mind is looking to hear about Krishna, but it has no knowledge. And gradually when people find out about Krishna, then okay. But right now most people don't know about Krishna, so they're not listening. They're listening to other things. Here in the purport, the discussion is about Krishna's creations. It says, it speaks about Krishna's creations. And Prabhupada says here, his creations, both material and spiritual, are wonderful and contain all variegatedness. So there are some people in this world, they like to travel, trekking, going adventuring, all sorts of activities. And if we just so they would have seen this world, but a lot of us have not seen. We would have maybe seen one city, one country, but we hear of amazing things on this planet. Okay, for example, there's a place called Victoria Falls in Africa. There is a waterfall. You can hear it from 2 kilometers away. It is so, the sound is so loud. And local people, the African tribe, they called it the water that thunders in their local language. Such a loud sound. And so much water is every second coming over the waterfall with such a force that it produces a mist. That mist, for at least 1 kilometer away, if you walk, you get wet. And to see that sight is spectacular. You can, power of nature, amazing. Sometimes they'll take you behind the waterfall in a boat, and if you go a few inches, you'll be crushed. So people see that. Then you have grassland, savanna. As far as you can see, grass and green grass and some flowers and sky. So people like to see nature. They like to see that. And then there's some beaches which are, water so nice. And so this material world has some very amazing, beautiful creations. Prabhupada says, Material and spiritual worlds, wonderful. They're wonderful. They contain variegatedness. Okay, even certain animals, very colorful, very amazing abilities they have. Okay, so this is described very nicely, and Prabhupada says here that described by liberated souls. They'll describe this material world and this material creation, and he names all the Vaishnava acharyas, sages, rishis, and up to, in our parampara, they also describe it. So it says, both the material and spiritual creations are full of opulence and beauty and knowledge, but the spiritual creation is more magnificent. It's more magnificent. Do we know that? No, because we have not seen it. We have not seen it. We are hearing about it now. Personally, we have not seen that creation. But people have. Narad, Vyas, Valmiki, Devala, Asita. And these are great personalities. They have powerful intellect, they have purity, and they are self-realized. So they have seen that, they have put it in the words, and we can read those words and understand what is the spiritual world. So we are taking it from them that is a greater place than this. This is attractive because it's Krishna's creation, but much, much more is the spiritual world. And this is just a perverted reflection. Everything here is a perverted reflection of them. So whatever we think here, anything attractive, we can imagine what is that? What is the spiritual world? The material creations are manifested for some time as perverted shadows of the spiritual kingdom. And one nice analogy is given here, because Prabhupada here is writing eternal Vedic knowledge and concepts, but want to communicate to us fallen, foolish Kali Yuga jivas. So what he writes here, that this material world is a perverted shadow of the spiritual world and can be likened to a cinema. So immediately you can start to understand what is this material world in relation to a cinema. Okay, it's written here in Bhagavatam, so I'll say it. Cinema is, we go inside, we expect, I'm going to see something, nice story, we look forward, and so we'll sit down. Then character 1, character 2 comes in the movie and we become excited, oh this character, oh that character, oh that character. Then the storyline, okay, but it's fake, nothing is true. It's all artificial. You know, we are seeing it and we are thinking, oh this person, that person is real, but that's not his role, and we know it. But we want to, okay, let me just imagine it. And that is attractive. For who? Prabhupada says here, such foolish men have no information of reality. They'll become attracted to these things. So in the cinema, it is an illusion for a short time. It will not last. For a short time, it's going on, and the person is foolish, he'll identify with that, and even he leaves the cinema, he'll think about that. Oh, this character, oh, this story, it's fake, nothing is real. It's not true, nothing is true. The reality is here, this is the reality. So Prabhupada writes here that it's manifested for some times as a shadow of the spiritual kingdom, like a cinema. They attract people of less intelligent caliber who are attracted by false things. Such foolish men have no information of the reality. See, they don't have information of reality, so they go after this. But now, let's look at these rishis, sages. And even now, there's rishis who are in the Himalayas. They come down in Kumbh Mela, then we see them. And these people have nothing to do with this civilization, nothing. So, how is that? It's because they are connected to the spiritual energy. They're connected to Krishna. They're connected to Krishna's Leela, pastime. They know these Shastras. And that is so tasty, swad, that they had no interest to come to any cinema here, or to hear what is the latest release or whatever it is. They don't, because that will be step down from their happiness. They're so happy. Then, okay, take me to a movie. No, then I'll become sad, because then I'll forget Krishna for that time. Let me remain in my happy condition. But other people having no knowledge of Krishna, for them this is step up. That I'll go there, I'll absorb, because we have to absorb our mind in some kind of narration, and senses have to be engaged in seeing, ears have to be engaged. But this is our engagement. The Gita class, Bhagavatam class, Gita class, or later on in our own time we hear lectures. Yeah, you listen to at least some Prabhupada lectures in a day. So not having knowledge of that, this attraction comes. But actually that is so nice that you can imagine there are people who just saw that I'm not going to enter these things. I'm not going to watch these things. Why? Because it steps down. We break our meditation on Krishna, or not only Krishna, but on Krishna's mission, preaching mission. Mind can be engaged in preaching mission. Mind can be engaged in some shloka that we read, or Krishna Leela. But of course, then you have to know these things. So there are people who don't know these things. And therefore, it's explained in the purport that this is why Krishna comes. Krishna comes here to perform his Leela and to show everybody that is not real. Look, all of you, look at this. This is the reality. You can join this. Why you're here. And so when people hear and read the narration, they realize, oh, this is, there's an eternal kingdom, Prabhupada says. There's an eternal kingdom of God, more delightful, larger, eternal, full of bliss and knowledge. So those who are not conversant with activities of the Lord and his transcendental realm are sometimes favored by the Lord. Krishna gives his favor. How? He'll bring that Leela here into this material world. And here for some time, well, it's not some time, it's eternal. But it's manifest for some time. That the Leela happens and then everyone realizes this is higher. This is a higher thing. I'll give you an example. For example, now Gaudiya Siddhanta is very deep. It has depth that we cannot understand, and we will not even speak generally because people have to be on that level. But just to give an example, that we understand that highest material pleasure is sex in this material world. So people are after that so much. But we understand that in the spiritual world it is there. It's called Adi Rasa. Adi Rasa, the original mellow. And but here in this material world, because it's a perverted reflection, this is something abominable, not spoken about, not. But in the spiritual world, it is worshipable, it is great. And that is so great that Prabhupada says that by hearing about that, we give up all the taste for this. That is an example how spiritual energy pulls one out of this material things. But because of not having knowledge, we become absorbed in the matter and the narrations of the material world and the characters of the material world. But that will never make us happy. The happiness comes from the spiritual energy. Spiritual happiness, Hladini Shakti. That Hladini Shakti, when someone does bhakti or comes to Krishna, there's spiritual energies involved. It is inbuilt in that. In there is the happiness, in there is the knowledge. You don't have to separately seek it. It's just a byproduct of bhakti. So in this spiritual world, the experiences are eternal and so satisfying that when we taste, we will not leave it. We experience the taste, then that's it. Even this life, next life, we'll continue it. Towards the end, Prabhupada is explaining that less intelligent persons, they are known as karmis or Gyanis. Karmis are people who try to seek happiness by action, their actions, karma. Pious action given in Veda, they look for happiness in this material world by endeavoring. So they're called karmis. Gyanis, they have given up action and looking for gross sense gratification, but they're looking on a different level. Same. Gyani means they want to give up this matter and absorb in a spiritual energy. It is a good thing also. But both of these are not intelligent, because karmis are not intelligent because they're looking for happiness on material platform. But Narad Muni says that Kuta Shashvat Abhadram Ishware, the people who are seeking fruitive happiness, Nishkamapi Uchita Bhava, Nashvade Alam Gyan Niranjanam, Natcharpidam Karma Yadapya Karanam. So he says that Kuta Shashvat Karma Abhadram Ishware. These material activities are shashvat, they're temporary. I'll do something to get some happiness. I'll endeavor, but that will be not lasting few minutes, few seconds. Almost, a movie is 1 hour, but we are not always absorbed in it. Shashvat Abhadram. Abhadra means Abhadra. Because I engage in a material activity, the guna will stick to me, and next time it will make me again, I want to see, again I want to do this, some activity. So, Shashvat Abhadram. Abhadra. Bhadra means auspicious, but material activities are inauspicious. They'll again make us absorb in matter. Abhadram, okay, that is the result. So, Narad Muni says that. So, it says here that Gyanis and Karmis, they're less intelligent, because they're not going after the real spiritual substance. But above these two classes of transcendentalists, those who try to get the supreme through karma activities or jnana, speculation, there is the Satwata or devotee. He is not busy in material activities or with material speculation. He is engaged in the positive service of the Lord. Thereby he derives highest spiritual benefit. The highest happiness is on the devotional platform. Actually, if we strictly look at the definition, karmis and jnanis are not transcendentalists. They are still absorbed in some material desires. So as the supreme controller of both material and spiritual worlds, the Lord has different incarnations of unlimited categories. Krishna is in the spiritual world. There he has many forms. Those forms come into this material world, and they also perform pastimes. His activities are transcendental. If we hear about them, they help us to come also on the spiritual level. Here the sages say that his transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious. Gracious means merciful. Parigitani. So please therefore speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures. Sages, it says here, learned sages like Narad sing of them. And the word used, parigitani, Gita, Gita. But Prabhupada puts it here as a broadcast. Okay. Parigitani. So the sages, they broadcast. They know these pastimes and they broadcast. And then we hear them. And by hearing, we become attracted. If we hear again, anyone will become attracted. Anyone. But it has to be repeatedly done, just like a medicine is repeated. So it has to be repeated again and again. And even if we are not, some people are not attracted. It says in that shloka, Bhava Ushada Shrota Mano Bhiramat Ka Uttama Shloka Gunanuvadat Puman what is that last line? Savirajye Satmaha Pashugna. Yeah, so some people are not attracted, but if you keep hearing it, then the attraction comes, because it removes that layer of guna which is blocking. Hare Krishna. Any question? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.